Hi everyone, welcome back to Optimize FPL. I thought I would go through what I'm going to be using for a lot of my decisions this season, which is my Excel spreadsheet solver. First, I want to shout out the guys at FPL_gents, as they made a very similar Excel spreadsheet that they released to the public. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to work for my needs, so I just basically remade it and added a few things myself. Yeah, so getting that out of the way, let's quickly look at how the spreadsheet works. So firstly, the solver is designed to maximize points projection. So the points projections are listed here, and they are summed at the bottom right here. So now that we see where the points projections are being summed, we want to know where they're coming from, right? So they are coming from Fantasy Football Hub. That is where I'm getting the data for my projections. Let's hope that they have a good algorithm and it helps with a lot of decision making I make this season. The solver has a maximum budget of 83 million. This is because the maximum you could have on your bench is 16.5. That'd be one 4.0 million goalkeeper, two 4.0 million defenders, and one 4.5 million forwards or midfielder. But since most teams don't have two 4.0 million defenders, I was using the assumption of 17 million on the bench. I thought that would be reasonable, and that's what most teams have. That's what my team has, I believe. On the bench is 17 million, and then the rest on the field. That is summed at the bottom here to its left, and that's using that if the one here is available, then it will sum the number here at the bottom here. It's a sum product. Times the 7.5, add it together, and equal the max. The other parameter it has is that it has a max and min on the player positions and how much value I want to allocate to different positions. For example, if I wanted to play with 3 at the back, I would change the max and the minimum to 3. If I wanted all teams to be optimized to have a 4.0 goalkeeper, I would just make the maximum 4.5, and it would solve for that. Right now the max defense is at 4, because if it was 5, the money in the bench would need to be 17.5, and now not most players are going to go with 5 at the back, as it's not flexible for the quick changing world of FPL. We need a lot of flexibility when it comes to that. With all this in mind, I wanted to look at what the solver results are for game week 1. The solver is trying to maximize points for just the first game week. It is not considering any other game weeks, so I wouldn't recommend this team. This team is basically my equivalent to the Scouts team that they put out each week. I always found that really interesting. It's basically just like a wild card every week to see what the best players they think are available under a certain budget. The team also has a max of 2 players per team. For example, Chelsea this week would have had 3 defensive assets, and it makes it a lot less fun when we could only have 5 teams to talk about, basically. The best teams are going to be playing against the worst teams. They're all going to be picked, and it's not going to make the solver very interesting or fun. It's just going to be, hey, the best teams are going to beat the worst teams. So I want to see a little bit more variability, just like FPL has. Okay, and if I go up to the very top, I'm going to pick data. We're going to go to solver. The solver is maximizing the points projection. It has all of these constraints, and we're just going to click solve. Beautiful. This is the team that I will be going over in a few minutes. It's Schmeichel, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Tsimikas, Shaw, Salah, Fernandez, Sarr, Vardy, Ings, and Antonio. Okay, so let's get started with the team. Schmeichel is starting in net. It seems the algorithm at Fantasy Football Hub do not rate the Wolves' attack, and I really don't blame them. Jimenez is just getting back from a horrendous injury, and it looks like the likes of Podence and Neto are still out injured. At least that's to my understanding. The Leicester defense is definitely weak without Evans and Fofana, but I can definitely still see a clean sheet here. Moving on to Rudiger and Azpilicueta in defense. Very understandable. Like I said earlier, they have a fantastic fixture this week against a weak Palace attack. At home, it's got a clean sheet written all over it, let's be honest. Chelsea's defense were immense last season, and they are going to probably continue that into the new season. Next, we're going to be looking at Shaw. He's very template and has a tough match against Leeds at home. They are very attacking, so I think we are hoping more for Shaw's Euro form to continue. We're looking for probably attacking returns here and less for the clean sheet points, but it is still very possible that they keep a clean sheet. I just don't think it's as likely as Shaw getting a return instead. To finish off the defense and move on to the midfield, we're going to be looking at Tsimikas and Salah. At this point, I think everyone will be captaining Salah. They are going away to a newly promoted side in Norwich, a side that have just lost a star in Buendia. I can see them getting ripped apart and having a really terrible time. For Tsimikas, for example, I think that he can easily keep a clean sheet here with the defense of Van Dijk and I think Matip or Gomez beside him. I'm not exactly sure who, but those just Van Dijk in general, just having him back can really, I think, spur Liverpool on to have a lot more clean sheets in the new season. Moving on to Fernandez, he's a player that's really been dividing the FPL community, it seems like. Not many people are backing the Portuguese midfielder to have another great season. I personally believe that he's going to do great. It seems that the predictor also likes him for at least game week 1 at Leeds at home. Like I said, it's not a great fixture for defense, but for offense, I think that it is a great game. Leeds lead a lot of goals last season, and we'll see if they have to tighten up that defense. They did tighten up towards the end of the season, but we'll see if that can continue. The start of last season with Leeds was very open. It was a 4-3 game against Liverpool, I believe, if my memory isn't deceiving me. So a lot of goals could be scored in this game. I think that's very possible. To finish off the midfield, we're going to be looking at Sarr. I'm a little surprised, as Aston Villa, even at home, will not be an easy game. But I guess Villa did outperform their defensive stats last season, and maybe Sarr and Rockford can finally punish their defense. They weren't as solid at the end of last season. Let's see if they can keep it up or recapture that form that they lost. Moving on to the attack, I think we're going to start with Vardy. He's an interesting choice against Wolves at home. It will be interesting to see how Wolves line up, as they may no longer be playing with a back five. That could lead to more goals, and with Vardy being the only nailed striker from Leicester for game week 1, I think he could be a great pick. He's also on penalties, and I think it would be very interesting. Wolves' defense looks a little bit weak. They don't see. I'm not really sure too much about it. They got a new keeper as well. It will be interesting to see how they line up and how they do. Looking to the right of the forwards, we have Danny Ings, and Villa have a great opening fixture against Watford. Although Watford had a fantastic defense in the Championship, the Premier League is just different gravy in comparison. Villa will have a lot of attacking talent to replace the outgoing man Jack Grealish. It'll be interesting to see which of the new men start just behind Danny Ings. Will Bailly and Buendia start? I'm not too sure, so that's why I think Ings is a great pick, and that's also what the predictor says, which I think makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he's really the only nailed forward, other than maybe Watkins on the left, for Villa in their opening fixture. Antonio is the final piece to this puzzle. He plays Newcastle away, which I think is going to be great for him. He's been great in preseason, and barring any injuries, he will be a great asset for the first few games of the season. Until West Ham start playing in Europe, I get a little worried for his hamstrings once they start. So that is the team and its projected score to 58 points, and with Salah captain, that goes up to 65.5. Let's hope that we can get that, and hope the projections are looking pretty good. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have a lot of questions about the solver, I can make another video going into more detail if that is requested. Other than that, looking forward to the season, and cheers everyone.